Hello, you beautiful souls, and welcome back to another episode. My name is Hannah. I'm your host, and today I'm going to be diving into temptation. I recently celebrated my 2 years being sober from alcohol, and it's been over 2 years of me being sober from weed as well. And in this sobriety journey I have been going on, I have started to understand what this means on another level. The last time that I went to ayahuasca, I had a vision that I want to share with you guys, and it has to do with temptation. Now, I am not somebody who is inherently religious. I believe that there is truth to religions and that the truth is probably somewhere tied up in a little bit of every religion. But for me, I view it a little bit differently. I went to Catholic school in high school and we learned about the seven deadly sins and temptation and going to hell and all this fear mongering that kind of gets put into religion. And I think most of it is true. Just my definition of hell and heaven is slightly different than what the Bible says. So I'm going to get into all of this with you today. And I really hope you enjoy this episode because I have some really deep insights I want to share with you guys. And I think it can be really helpful to look at things from this perspective when you're trying to make decisions on a health journey and making better decisions for yourself every day. Being able to reflect on the choices you make and ask yourself, is this giving me energy or is this taking my energy away? And it can become a lot easier to make those decisions for yourself, to be able to say no to things that you deep down know are not there for your greatest good. And it can make this health journey a little bit easier to walk on when there is so much information out there. There are so many different options, there are so many different ways to go about things. But and also everybody is their own unique individual. What works for me might not work for you, and that's okay. But when you can reflect and assess your decisions you make from this lens, I think you will be able to better make decisions that best serve you and what the goals that you have in mind and the places that you want to go in your life. I don't see heaven and hell as a place that you go after you die. I believe that heaven and hell are frequencies that we experience here on earth. And I believe that the decisions we make can put us in the frequency of heaven or the frequency of hell. And I don't think we wait until we die and get sent to either heaven or hell based on the way that we lived our life. I think the way that we are currently living our life puts us in a state of heaven or hell. And when looking at my own life, when I was not being kind, when I was not living in alignment with my truth, all these things, I would say that my life was more hell like. And when I pray every day and I do all these things that are good for my energy, I live in a state of heaven on earth. And I think essentially our karma is the reflection of those choices back to us in where we are within our own reality. So if you're making bad choices, you're going to be in a lower vibration and maybe bad things are happening to you. Or if you make good choices, you're in a higher vibration and good things are happening for you. But I want to take away the connotation of good and bad because nothing is inherently good or bad. I want you to think about things as what gives me energy and what takes away my energy. So I had this vision when I did ayahuasca on my last night, and I was laying in my bed and I saw my energetic bubble, my aura, my energy as this white light. And then I saw myself walking through the grocery store, and the food on the shelves that were processed and full of toxins and sprayed with pesticides and all these things that we know are not good for our health. I saw that if I consumed these products, I lost some of my light. Say you have a blank page, it's white. But as you put these toxins in your body, it starts to fill up with black. And when we cleanse our bodies and rid ourselves of these toxins, of these energy takers, we can come back to a state of having this pure white light. But the more things that we do or put in our bodies that are taking our energy, it's taking away that white light and it's filling it up with dark, dense, gross energy that I personally do not want in my life. And it just really opened my eyes to how much this is true for not only the food that we eat, but decisions in our everyday life. What are we choosing to do with our time? Are the things that we do for ourselves every day giving us energy or taking it away? And this is something that alcohol has really taught me, because alcohol has this promise in a shiny bow that tells you, drink me and have fun with your friends, or go celebrate, or do all these things that are advertised as fun or sex, or however they try to pull you in. And something I have learned about the spirit of alcohol is that it takes more than it gives. So if it gives you a night of fun out with your friends, it's also taking away your health, it's taking away your good energy, it's taking away the next day or more where you feel like shit. And is it worth one night with your friends having fun to then feel like shit for days after, for your health to decline, for your body to end up having all these issues down the line? And it's not an instant reaction. So maybe we don't recognize it as that happening within the equation because we are so focused on like instant gratification and instant karma for the decisions that we make, that sometimes I think we forget to reflect ahead and look at the karma down the road that is going to happen from this decision that you're making right now, especially when it comes to our health. Okay, maybe you eat a bunch of processed foods and you feel like shit, but then you're fine. Later, you feel fine, or that feeling like shit becomes your normal. So you just accept it as is. But later down the line, maybe you get cancer, maybe you have chronic illness, chronic inflammation, it hurts to move your body, all these things. Your quality of life goes way down because you continue to make this instant gratification choice in the past. So, alcohol takes more than it gives. And it's not just alcohol, but this is something that really opened up my mind to this concept of temptation. There is so many things in our society that is constantly tempting us. It is marketed as it's going to give you a good time, you're going to enjoy the taste, you're going to have fun, all these things. But what's not being shown is the energy that it's sucking from you in order to give you this small moment of satisfaction. And also, I think we really need to remove the connotation around that you have to drink alcohol to have fun. I would say I have had more fun not drinking alcohol and going out to do things than I ever have drinking alcohol, because even if you drink alcohol, you're not guaranteed to have a good night. How many times have you drank and done something you regretted, made poor decisions, made a fool of yourself, acted in a way that you totally would not have if you were sober, embarrassed, maybe you hooked up with some dude you shouldn't have, whatever, all these things that we do when we're drinking. None of that is good. Again, it takes more than it gives. It's not a fair trade. It's not an equal game. And it's one of those things where you kind of just have to say, like, I deserve more. I deserve better. I don't want to treat myself this poorly. I don't want the karma of what this is giving to me in my life for my future health, for everything that you can't see in this moment that it's still affecting. So, not only is this alcohol, this is the foods we eat, drugs. This also has to do with toxic relationships, whether that be romantic or friendships, even family members, maybe. If you spend time around somebody and you feel energetically drained, this is a sign that they are sucking the energy, the life literally out of you. And you don't have to be friends with anybody. You don't have to spend your time with anybody. You are not obligated to do so. And if you've gotten to a stage in your life where the people that you're used to spending time around now make you feel drained, then it's time to move on. Create some distance. You don't have to be rude. You don't have to make a big scene. You can just slowly pull away and find more aligned friends, because there are people who will fill your cup every time you see them, or there are people who will suck every last ounce of liquid out of your cup and you need 3 days mentally to recharge after you have a conversation with them. That's not the kind of energy that you want in your life. So, I'm going to get into the 7 deadly sins and the 7 heavenly virtues. Again, I am not Catholic, I am not super religious, but I believe in God. I believe that there is truth in every religion. And I just think that these are so interesting and such a interesting perspective or lens that you can look at this through to help make decisions of your life of, do I want to live in the state of heaven or do I want to live in the state of hell? Do I want to give my energy away or do I want to do things that give me energy? So each sin has a virtue that is essentially the opposite. So the first sin is pride or ego. This is living in a state of judgment. You think you're better than other people, you are judging them for their decisions. Your ego is driving the car, and I hope we all know what happens when our ego drives the car. It's never good. It's going to cause a lot of issues. Again, our ego does have a purpose, or else we wouldn't have one. But when we let ego run our life, we're trying to keep up with the Joneses. We care too much about our appearance, what other people think of us. We're trying to have this whole facade so that people think we're perfect because we don't want anybody to see our flaws. We are way too proud. And don't get me wrong, it's okay to be proud of who you are, but not in a way that is, I am proud of who I am because I think I'm better than somebody. No, you can be proud of who you are and just be humble about who you are at the same time. So the virtue that is the opposite is humility, which is grounded self-awareness, okay? It's being aware of our flaws, knowing that we're not perfect, knowing that we're here to learn, knowing that there's still things we have to figure out. We do not know everything or we wouldn't be here. Okay? Once your soul knows all the answers, once you've learned all the lessons, you don't come back to earth. You are here to learn. You are here to be guided. You are here to be humiliated, to give you some humility every once in a while, put you back in line, and to come at things from a place of humility and saying, I don't know what to do. I don't know the answers. I need help. I am fully aware that I struggle with A, B, and C, and I want to get better at that. Okay. That is a virtue, and that is going to give us energy because we can ask for the help we need. We can look at things from a place of, how can I be better? How can I learn more? How can I make better decisions for myself, for my health, for my wealth, for my family, all of these things. The second deadly sin is greed, which often refers to wealth and power, whereas so greed, I see, is so common. And it is okay to want nice things. We are allowed to want nice things and have nice things. But where this is really eye-opening is in places like governments. If you look at people who are in power, they often act from this state of greed because they want more power, they want more wealth, they want more control. They're going to try and take more of your money. They're going to try and give you less say in what happens. It's happened throughout history in different governments. It's happening now in the government. And it's also people who get into positions where they have power. I don't necessarily believe that any one person should be able to have power over another. I think that's where governments always fail. I think that's where issues with authority really come into play, and people don't trust the police, people don't trust these systems in place, because who gave you authority to have power over me? Who gave you authority to know what's right and what's wrong? And it can really go to people's heads. People make decisions from poor places. So being in a place where you are worried about having more wealth, more power than somebody else, or in order to control other people, is coming from a state of greed, and it is a sin. Whereas in the seven heavenly virtues, the opposite to this one is charity or love, which is selfless love and care for others. I seen this quote on a poster when I was in Bali, and it really stuck with me. And it said, "No one ever became poor by giving." And it was a picture of Buddha. And I just thought, holy shit, that is so true. When you come from a place of lack, or you come from a place of your greed, you're hoarding your money for yourself because you want nice things. You. That in a way makes you more poor, because you are putting up this big block around you and saying me, 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 me. However, if you are giving away, if you are doing things for charity, if you are doing things out of the love and kindness of your heart to help others, that's never going to make you poor, because the universe has a way of repaying you for all the wonderful good deeds that you do, your good karma. So if you are helping out people in need, you're going to be helped out when you're in need. Things like that. And when we look at it from that perspective, it's like there's no reason for us to hoard over wealth. You can want to be wealthy, you can want to have money, that's fine. But what are you doing with that wealth? Are you making a positive difference in this world? Are you making a positive difference in other people's lives? Because if you just have money because you want a fancy car and a fancy house and a fancy boat, and the list goes on and on and on, your life is going to be a living hell. But if you have wealth because you want to make a difference, you want to help others, you want to do something good in this world, all the power to you. And you're going to be rewarded for that through your karma, because you're helping others. We don't get poor by helping others. We get rich, and whether that be physical wealth, or we're rich in abundance, we're rich in love, we're rich in health, we're rich in other ways. Being rich doesn't always mean money. The third sin is lust, or uncontrolled desire. And I think the way that our society is set up is to put so much energy into this. When I was a young woman, teenager, young adult, your whole life is about sex, kind of. And I mean, as a human being, we are one of the only animals that doesn't have sex just to reproduce. It is something that we spend a lot of energy about, but it used to be normal that you didn't have sex until marriage, and you saved that part of yourself for somebody who you shared this deep connection with. And now we just have it so normalized to be sleeping with whoever you want, to give that away, and we are looking at everybody with the lens of lust in our eyes. Social media and movies and even music, all these things are so sexualized. Almost every ad is sexualized. People use their bodies to promote themselves, and this whole world of porn and all this stuff that is absolutely disgusting. And I'm not saying, like, if you want to have sex, that is fine. I think we have maybe gone way too far. And I think having sex with people that you're not in a relationship with, that you're not deeply connected to, is really giving your energy away or your power away to that person. It's an energy taker because you're worried, like, oh, is he gonna text me back? Oh, are we gonna ever hang out again? Oh, does he like me? Oh, do I look good right now? Oh. And you worry about all these different things. And it's an uncontrolled desire because, yeah, you can think somebody's hot, or, yeah, you can, find somebody attractive, but it doesn't mean that you have to have sex with them or that you need to put all this energy into that. And also, it's sad because anybody who is inherently good looking, how many people are just looking at them like they're a piece of meat, whether it be a girl or a guy, because everybody can do it. And we're not looking at everything underneath. And you know what? Sometimes it can get you into really toxic relationships because if you are attracted to somebody solely for how they look, what is their personality like? How do they treat you? All these different things can so easily get overlooked because we're worried about, oh, but he's hot. Okay, yeah, so what? Like, one aspect of that is good and the rest are bad, and we're just going to cling on to that because it's an uncontrolled desire and it comes from a place of lust, not love. So the opposite to lust is chastity, which is a healthy expression of desire, and it is sharing yourself with somebody in a way that is intimate and deep, and you are so clear about what you desire. And in all aspects, I just learned this a lot from my previous relationship because I could have been blind to a lot of things if I was only focusing on the lust part of the relationship. But everything else that was not aligned showed me that, like, our desires were different and it wouldn't have worked out in the long run because of what we both truly wanted in life was so different. And I think that when we are having sex with somebody, so much of that can get mushed together or love blinded or whatever, and we're not paying attention. So spending time with somebody and not having sex with them is so important because I think you really can see a lot of these things that maybe get blurred when you're in that state of lust versus, like, what are my desires? What do I want? And see that so clearly, and only settling for somebody who aligns with those desires that you have. I think that's really important. Okay, the next one is envy or resentment. This is when we want what other people have and we're looking at them through a lens of resentment for having what we want. The green-eyed monster. Okay, just because somebody has something that you desire does not mean that you need to be mean to them, does not mean that you need to be angry or resentful or hate them because they have what you want and you don't have it and life isn't fair. Boo hoo. Why do they get it and I don't? That is such an energy draining mindset and way to look at things. We need to look at things as, oh my God, if they have it, so can I. Okay, the proof is in the pudding. If somebody else can manifest what I want, that just tells me that it's possible. Okay, it is possible. If it's possible for one, it's possible for all. We can all get to that frequency. Clearly, it exists because they're living in it. And when it comes from a place of, oh, wow, I can have that too, we can shift from competing against each other to working with one another to reach a common goal. Because when we're pushed into this box of compare yourself to everybody, this person's hotter than you, this person has what you don't, this person has more money, this person has a nicer car, we go back into that lens of me. And it's separating. It keeps us apart from the community. It keeps us away from having people in our corner. And when we can see it as, oh, I can have that too. Oh, we both want to help people. What if we worked together and together we helped even more people. Just because somebody wants the same thing as you, they're not trying to take it from you. And what if you could collaborate and make something even better together? Because there is something magic about community, and we are missing that so much in Canada, in North America. The media, everything that conditions our brain, conditions us to think in this mindset of being separate, being better than, being different than. It's so isolating. They make you want to feel alone because it is way more easier to control, to manipulate somebody who is alone. When you are in a community, you can't just pick on somebody. The whole community has your back. They're going to say, no, fuck you. I'm not listening to that. These people are all here with me, supporting me, loving me, helping me, guiding me. We all hold hands and sing kumbaya. Nothing is going to knock us down because we stand together. We're missing that. And that's why we're getting pushed around. That's why there's so many sheep, because it's just like, look over here, look at this. I'm dangling this carrot. Pay attention over here. And they're pulling the rug out from underneath our feet. So it's just something to really keep in mind. And the opposite to envy is kindness, okay? Kindness and community, understanding, looking at everything from the lens of kindness. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, create that sense of community, those deep relationships that you're going to mutually benefit from each other, helping each other out. And when you are in a time of need, they can help you. And when somebody else is in a time of need, you help them. And it's just good karma circling around everywhere. Okay, the next one is gluttony or overconsumption, which is, I don't know if anybody else can see this everywhere. Literally the entire problem with North America, for sure. The amount of food overconsumption, media overconsumption, social media overconsumption, TV, all these things are distractions. They're keeping us from doing what's important to us, doing the work we need to do, doing the inner work, all these things. It is literally a world of overconsumption. We want instant gratification. We are addicted to so many things, okay? Addiction is an issue that affects, I guarantee you, nearly every single person in North America for sure. Whether you want to admit it to yourself or not, maybe you're not addicted to drugs, maybe you're not addicted to alcohol, but I can guarantee you you're addicted to some sort of stimulant. Nicotine, caffeine, sugar, processed foods, all these things are addictions. There can even be unhealthy addictions to exercise, addictions to like the way that you look, shopping, all these things that give us this instant dopamine hit. We become addicted. Social media, okay, everybody wants to share their whole lives, and I get that you can do it in a way to make you money and capitalize on it, and that's awesome. But some people don't create, they only consume, and they're sitting there and just scrolling, and your brain is just frying circuits, and it is insane. So overconsumption, we need to have some balance, which is the opposite. So the virtue that goes against this is temperance, which means balance and moderation. In moderation, nothing is inherently bad, okay? I'm not saying you can never eat ice cream again. I will eat ice cream for the rest of my life because I love ice cream. But I can't eat ice cream every day. I can't do that. It's not good for me. It's not good for anybody. And the same goes for everything, okay? If you love drinking, if you love your red wine, if there's something that you just love, okay, that's fine. I'm not saying everybody needs to be completely sober from alcohol forever and never drink again. But in moderation, if you drink every weekend, that's not moderation. If you drink once a week, that's not moderation. If you drink once in a while, that's moderation. If you smoke weed every day, that's not moderation. If you smoke weed once a week, still not really moderation. And it can be so easy to fall into this trap of like, oh, that's just something I do and blah, 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 blah. Life goes on. This is just part of what I do every day. And then all this time's gone by, we're not paying attention to the karma it's giving us in the future. We're wondering why all these people have chronic health conditions. Well, because how many people are eating processed foods every single day? And yes, it's not going to kill you. Slowly over time it will, but in this moment, it's not going to kill you. So we don't look ahead down the road and think like, oh, but my liver's going to fail. My kidneys are going to fail. I'm not going to be able to lose weight. I'm going to have all these problems. So maybe I should choose something healthier now so that I don't have all these issues to deal with later. Then you get to the later and you have all these issues and you're like, oh my God, I don't know what's wrong with me. Like, what happened? Like, why am I sick? Like, what did I do to deserve this? Well, then we look back down where we came from and we go, oh, remember when I made all these terrible decisions for my health and for my energy? Okay. Why are we not talking about this? Why is this not talked about when you go to see the doctor? Why is this not common information? This should be labels that have to be put on boxes. Like, this food might taste good now, but if you eat this for 20 years, it will give you cancer. If that was on the box, would you eat it? No, probably not. But these things don't have to be labeled. These things don't have to be talked about so that when we get 20 years down the line and we have cancer or a chronic illness that causes us pain and takes away our ability to do anything, we're like, oh no, what happened? I don't know what's wrong. Yeah, overconsumption and sin, living in that sin, and it's going to make you live in a living hell. You're in a living hell. When you're in so much pain that you can't move, when your health is shit and you don't have energy to even get out of bed in the morning and you can't do the things you love and be with the people that you love and you're miserable all the time, don't you think that's hell? You might as well be on fire in the burning whatever, how they describe it in the Bible. But when you're healthy and you have all this energy and you do what you love for work and you're surrounded by the people that you love and you can see the beauty in every moment, you're in awe. You appreciate everything in your surroundings. You're like, wow, the sky is beautiful. What another beautiful day to be living this life, this breath in my lungs, the love of my heart. I'm so lucky. You don't think that's heaven on earth? This is what I am saying. Okay, two more before I get so off track. Number 6 is wrath, which is anger or hate. Okay, we don't want to be angry. We don't want to hate. We don't want to judge. Okay, when you live in the state, it is such an energy sucker. When you are angry and you hate on people, again, it's pushing you into that comparison mindset. Everything's making you angry. Why are you so angry? Okay, it's really hard on the liver when we're angry. And there's a lot of things that can make us angry for sure, but don't give in to it. And okay, as a human, it's important that we feel all emotions because every emotion is a teacher. And to feel anger isn't a sin, but to live in the energy of anger is a sin. Okay, because somebody can make us angry, and that is an indication that we need to have a boundary there or a boundary has been crossed, and we don't like that we were treated that way. We don't like that this is going on, and that's okay to recognize that, but then you have to like let it go and walk away from that, because otherwise if you're living in that energy and you're always angry, it's going to have such negative effects on your life, and we just don't want to be angry. So the opposite to that is patience, being calm, and forgiveness. Okay, calm in knowing that everything always works out for me. Okay, I don't need to sit here and stew and be angry and want revenge or whatever, because karma is real. Karma is far more fucking powerful than you can even wrap your head around. You don't need to sit here and stew because somebody did something to make you angry. If somebody was in the wrong, their karma will play out for them. There is no reason for you to sit there and be like, grr, because it's only affecting your energy. They're not sitting there and being affected by your anger being pointed at them, okay? Oh, it's just going to be bounced right back and smack you in the face. So be so aware of that and try to be patient and understanding. We are all learning. We are all trying to figure it out, okay? Maybe somebody wronged you. Maybe that sucked. Maybe it stung. But Instead of sitting there and stewing in it, just say, oh, wow, that sucked. I'm going to move on. I'm going to keep going. And we're just not going to do that again. And I'm going to give that person some love and some forgiveness because they probably didn't know any better. Or maybe they were really hurting. Or maybe they've been through it even worse than I have. And I can't even comprehend what's going on in their world because that's just not where I am. And that's why it's so important to have patience with yourself because we're not in a race, okay? We're doing things one day at a time. We're following our own path. We're not worried about what other people are doing and when they were doing it. We're not comparing ourselves to that because it's only going to make you spiral for no reason. So focus on yourself, focus on what you want, and stay in your own lane and be patient with yourself and with other people because, again, we're just all trying to learn. Okay, the last one is sloth, which is lazy and a lack of purpose. This is also so common. How friggin' lazy are we? We have everything designed, made to make us even more lazy. You want food? Somebody will bring it right to your door. You don't even have to cook. You don't even have to go to the grocery store. You don't even have to drive to the restaurant anymore. They'll just bring it right to you. Okay, Amazon making us lazy. We don't even drive to Walmart anymore when we need something. We just order it right to the door. And in some ways, it makes your life more convenient. So it's great. But it's making us so lazy that we're losing our track of purpose of how many people want to sit on the couch and binge watch an entire season of a show instead of do the things that they know they need to get done. Because I also want to say that I know I am not perfect. I am far from perfect. These are all things that I am learning to practice in my own life. I like watching TV sometimes. Sometimes I just tell myself I'm not allowed to because I'll get in a trap of that I just have to watch this entire show before I need to know what happens before I can do anything else in my life. And then I lose hours and hours and hours and hours. And it's something that I've built a lot of awareness around because it's something that I've struggled with in my own life. So I don't sit here and go on these tangents because I think that I know and other people don't because I see these patterns and I understand this wisdom, but it's because I'm learning it and learning to embody this so that I can better myself in ways that will help me for my future. So I'm just saying, I'm not perfect, but I do see these. And when I spend time in doing things that make me lazy, you lose that feeling of purpose. You lose that feeling of like, why am I here and what am I here to do? Nobody, no, not one single soul on this planet came here to watch Netflix. It is not our purpose. And if we spend all this time sitting here and doing these things, it's taking away time that could be put towards our purpose and it's pulling us out of that energy. Whereas the opposite, so the virtue, is diligence, which is a purposeful effort and devotion. What are you devoting your life to? Is it serving others? Is it being a teacher? Is it being a healer? Is it being a mom? Is it being, what is it? What are you devoting your life to? And how can you take steps every day to get there? You don't just wake up and are a doctor one day. You don't just wake up and are a teacher one day, but if that's what you feel called to do, if that's what your purpose is, you have to take these steps in that direction. So, do you think somebody who wants to be really, really, really successful at what they do is sitting on the couch and watching Netflix all day? No, maybe once in a while on a day off when they need to, unwind and that's what they like to do. Sure. Do you think somebody who's really, really healthy is sitting on the couch versus going to the gym? No. Do you think somebody that's really, really healthy is ordering DoorDash every day versus making home cooked meals? No. So it's just deciding like, what do you want? Who do you want to be? And then making decisions every day from that place of what would that person do? What would that version of me do? If I want to be healthy, I don't eat McDonald's. If I want to have a career, I need to go to school or work towards that career that I want. If I want to travel, I need to book a plane ticket. All of these things. So, I think that this is a really interesting to look at it from this perspective and look at it as what gives us energy and what takes our energy away. The sins are taking away our energy, our attention, our motivation, our desires, and the virtues are giving us energy. It's giving us purpose. It's helping us live a fulfilled life. This world is set up to keep us so distracted and suck our energy if we let it, in the comparison, in the medias, in the food, the toxic food and processed foods that are everywhere and so readily, easily available to us, but it makes us feel like shit and it gives us shitty health and it takes away our energy every single day. TV, all these things that like can keep your mind so distracted so it's not thinking about things that are important. It's not being put towards something that is purposeful. So instead of labeling things as good or bad, label it for yourself as an energy giver or an energy taker and really watch how you decide to make decisions for yourself. If I order DoorDash, it's going to be an energy taker. If I make food at home, a healthy meal with whole foods, it's going to be an energy giver. Okay? And you have so much energy, and there's going to be times where you're like, oh, I need to order the takeout. That's fine, but you can't do it every day, because I think what I saw in this vision of what happens, or at least with myself, is that okay, so you make these little decisions every day where you eat the processed foods, or you drink the alcohol, or you do the drugs, or you watch the TV, or you do all these things. And if you're not cleansing and purging and letting go and like making better decisions to give you more energy, eventually your whole energy can be this dark, gross, dense energy. And that is your entire reality. It's gross, it's heavy, it's stagnant, it's hell on earth. And we can always make that change for ourselves, but we have to detox our bodies. We have to stop putting this shit in our bodies. And the more we do that, the more light and fluffy and beautiful the energy is that we hold within ourselves. And I just think it's so important because people get so lost in this. It's a trap, and it's made to trap your energy, to keep you stuck, to keep you in a fear, lack mindset, to think that that's just normal and that's the way that things are and that's just how it is and life sucks and life isn't fair and all these things. How many people do you know in your life that live in that mentality and make those decisions for themselves every day and are so stuck in that place? It's really, really sad, and it happens way more often than it should be happening, but you get to make that decision for yourself. And even if you feel like you're in a place where your energy is really dense and you feel really heavy and things haven't been going your way lately, and you can give me a list of all the things that are wrong and not really be able to give me a list of the things that are good, this is just a sign that you need to start making decisions based on what is going to give me energy and not take it away from me, because this is what happens when you've given all your energy away. So, yeah, my closing reflection for you would be just to ask yourself, what takes your energy? Is there people that make you feel drained? Does your job make you feel drained? Does the food you eat make you feel like shit? Because if the answer to any of these are yes, it's probably time to do some reflecting and some letting go and some cutting out and some making better habits for you. There are a lot of things that are natural energy givers: sunlight, fresh air, exercise, healthy foods, moving your body, dancing, music, all these things that we do that just make us feel instantly so much better. And there's a lot of things that are energy takers: being sedentary, foods, drugs, alcohol, things that are going to make us feel like shit. I don't even really do mushrooms anymore, you guys, every once in a while, but every time I go to do them, I have to ask myself this question because I don't get hungover, but I feel so tired the next day. And I have to ask myself, like, can I afford to have an entire day where I'm so tired all I want to do is nap? And if the answer is no, then I won't do it because it's not just the few hours that you're having fun, it's also the next day that's affected. And sometimes I just don't think it's worth the price that you pay for that. So, anyway, this has been my take on temptations and things that are taking our energy away versus giving us energy. I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. I love each and every one of you so, so much. You guys make my heart so full, and I will see you next time. Bye.